Welcome to my Frankenstein project. Today we are going to compare two Frankenstein movies, Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet Frankenstein and The Curse of Frankenstein, and compare it to the 1818 Mary Shelley novel. In this video, we're going to show how Frankenstein as a character and plot has changed in cinema over time. Let's dive into the changes in the monster's character. First, we're going to show the depiction of Frankenstein's monster in the Mary Shelley book. In the Mary Shelley novel, Frankenstein is an 8-foot-tall creature made out of dead corpses who is hidden by an isolated scientist named Victor. His hideousness makes Victor terrified of him, abandoning the monster and leaving the monster alone. As a result of isolation and constant human rejection, the monster becomes violent and seeks vengeance. In the Mary Shelley version of Frankenstein turns cold and is murderous, killing Victor's younger brother, William, his wife Elizabeth, and his best mate, Henry Clerval. Of course, more deaths occur as a result of the murders. His character is complex. He's highly intelligent, deeply emotional, and is tragically misunderstood. Through this character, Mary Shelley is able to raise questions about the nature of humanity and morality. Despite his looks, he carries remarkable intellect and capacity for learning, yet his longing for connection is so strong yet unattainable in the Mary Shelley novel. His moral complexity starts when he is constantly denied the companionship and love he so much desires, making him a vengeful monster who orchestrates the death of Victor's loved ones as acts of retribution for his suffering. The monster in the Mary Shelley novel is a reflection of humanity's cruelty and Victor's hubris. In the end, after Victor's death, the creature expresses profound grief and regret, revealing the humanity he holds in his heart. Mary Shelley's monster is not merely a villain, but a poignant and multi-faced character who provokes empathy, horror, and reflection on the complexities of human nature. Let's move on to Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet Frankenstein. A common change in the monster's character is his name. Many call the monsters Frankenstein instead of Frankenstein's monster. Alvin and the Chipmunks feature the monster, or what they call Frankenstein, in one of their Halloween movies, Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet Frankenstein. This movie is very lighthearted. There is no gory, bloody, vengeful, intelligent version of Frankenstein, rather a dumbed-down version who ends up being very friendly and good with kids. The Frankenstein in this movie is what your typical Frankenstein looks like nowadays, green with a boxy head and the arms up waddling around. Of course, since this movie is aimed for children, this Frankenstein version is more cute than scary. There is no emotional complexity to this character, especially in comparison to the Mary Shelley version of Frankenstein's monster. This movie showcases a clumsy Frankenstein, who simply learns how to be kind and friendly, making friends with the chipmunks and other kids. In this movie, Frankenstein and the Chipmunks must flee and outsmart Dr. Frankenstein from running experiments on them, making a comedic and thrilling animated movie. This movie is more for children, and although there may be themes of crazy scientist does immoral things, it is not as strong and very, very loosely follows the themes of the 1818 novel, as it is made for children in a comedic sense. The setting is completely different. This movie takes place in suburbia in America during the 90s, while the 1818 book is set in Europe, more specifically Germany and Switzerland. The setting in the movie gives it a more comedic, kid-friendly route, while the novel's setting reflects the hardships and emotion of the characters. Lastly, let's go to The Curse of Frankenstein. The Curse of Frankenstein is a horror film that is loosely based on the Mary Shelley version of the novel. In this version, the monster is created by Victor Frankenstein, initially with the help of his mentor, Paul Kremp. Wanting his monster to have a sharp brain, Victor seeks to dig up a professor for his brain. However, Paul stops him and the brain is damaged in a fight. As a result of the damaged brain, the monster is violent and psychotic. In this version, the monster is ugly and gory, the eye of the monster missing after Paul shoots at the monster's face. This movie shows the monster going after everyone and anything who he faces. Again, there is no emotional complexity in this character, he just kills whoever he pleases. Physically, the monster appears disfigured and corpse-like, with mismatched body parts and an unsettling appearance. Rather than a sympathetic feeling for the monster being created, it is depicted as an uncontrollable, violent creation that is driven by primitive instinct. The lack of self-awareness is what makes the monster so dangerous and scary, especially when it lashes out at Victor's actions. The film's version of the monster is more presented as a moral consequence of Victor Frankenstein's moral corruption rather than a fully realized character. The themes of this movie share similar themes to Mary Shelley's 1818 novel, reflecting the horrors of scientific greed and morality of life. The main difference in this Frankenstein is it lacks emotion. There's no initial sense of sadness or need for human companionship like the monster in Mary Shelley's book. There's only psychotic violence that captivates the mind of the monster in this film. The setting in this movie takes place in Switzerland, where much action occurs in the Swiss Alps. While there's a similar setting, with isolation and remote areas for the monster, there's still no deep connection to the setting and characters like the Mary Shelley novel. The film was set here as Mary Shelley was staying in Switzerland when she wrote the novel, which is why the movie is actually filmed here. Now that we're done analyzing, let's look at some movie clip examples. First, starting with Alvin and the Chipmunks meet Frankenstein.
Meets the monster. It's Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Here we come!
Meet Frankenstein.
My baby's alive!
It's just a costume character.
In an all-new monster movie hit. That's so much fun, it's scary. The real Dr. Frankenstein has invaded Hollywood's Frankenstein castle to bring his mighty creature to life
At last we are together again.
and capture the curious crew.
I am going to turn you into a mindless zombie.
Don't you have to have a signed permission slip?
But the adventurous Alvin and his nutty pals cook up a plan to teach the original baddie to be a buddy.
He really needs a friend.
Filled with frightfully good music. This animated movie adventure is brand new and coming straight to you.
Who wants to go again?
Alvin and the Chipmunks meet Frankenstein on video just in time to scare up some laughs. And look inside the video for great savings offers. From Universal Studios Home Video.
Let's move on to The Curse of Frankenstein.
Warning, viewer discretion advised.
Lastly, let's move on to a timeline of the Frankenstein franchise. 1818 novel. Mary Shelley releases Frankenstein novel, following scientist Victor Frankenstein as he defies nature and creates life. Consequently, the monster haunts Victor and becomes a staple in horror films and society for years to come. 1910 short film. The film, directed by J. Searle, makes a movie through the Edison Manufacturing Company. In this silent 16-minute short film, the monster is disfigured and scary looking. Unfortunately, the single reel of film was lost for many years and eventually recovered in 2018. This version of Frankenstein is often forgotten about as a result. 1931 film adaptation. The film adaptation of Frankenstein introduces the iconic monster we all know and love today. The green skin, boxy figure, and it's alive speech all originates from this movie. This adaptation is almost nothing like the novel, created to fit into the Hollywood interest. 2004 film. In this film, we see Jack Frankenstein with other iconic monsters like Dracula and the werewolf to create an epic action movie. This movie has nothing to do with the plot of the 1818 Frankenstein novel, but rather a film where these iconic monsters team up to assist in an evil scheme. Now, the tale of Frankenstein's monster has become iconic as ever since the 1818 novel, and more adaptations and versions are on their way. In fact, a new Frankenstein movie is coming out in 2025 with famous director Guillermo del Toro directing and writing this movie. Will this monster be like the book or match the plot of the novel? Stay tuned to find out. That's all for my Frankenstein project. Thank you and hope you enjoyed.